Hello, hello. So Peter Jackson shared with us Beatle fans a treat, a very good treat. And I got to tell you, I was very happy. I didn't expect it. The Beatles Get Back film, which Peter Jackson is directing from the 56 hours of footage from the Let It Be footage, he decided to share a montage of some stuff from the 56 hours, stuff that I'd never seen, stuff that I read about on the transcripts of the Niagara recordings from the Get Back sessions, and in the process, a new take on Get Back cut to this montage. He said it's not a trailer and it's not a sequence. The trailers are going to come sometime next year in 2021. We know this was announced this year. There was supposed to be a big Let It Be Get Back set that came out. And yes, for those that want to know, let me just say it right now. If you read the press release earlier this past year, or late last year, I forgot when they announced it, but if you read the press release that initially came out, yes, a restored version of the Let It Be film is included. I don't know, in a separate release or a box set. I think that was part of the deal. People were pointing fingers at everybody. It was Paul and Ringo who didn't want the Let It Be film out. Paul said not. Then an article came out saying that it was Olivia that agreed to Let It Be finally coming out as long as a new cut of the film came out. As long as a brand new cut came out. So, who knows? But the bottom line is, oh my gosh, the footage that they showed in this thing. Yeah. They're showing them happy. They're showing them getting down, joking with each other, especially John reading an article about George and Ringo at a club, I think from back in the early 60s, being kicked out of a club or something like that. A lot of great stuff in there, a lot of mucking about for the cameras that you didn't see in the original Let It Be film. Now, I know what everybody's going to say, and I'm slightly on the fence with that. We know what happened during the Get Back, Let It Be sessions. The Beatles were bored, arguing, and all this other stuff. Yeah. But I think that there is a much more three-dimensional story there that Michael Lindsay Hogg never told. 56 hours of footage was shot. And you got an 80-minute film of four guys looking totally depressed and miserable, drugged out, hungover, a little bickering back and forth, and honestly, the Let It Be film, just as from a narrative perspective, goes absolutely nowhere. Kind of telling that Michael Lindsay Hogg, the director, was involved in another thing where the band was not happy with their performance and the way everything was. And that was shelved for many, many, many years. And that was the Rolling Stones with Rock and Roll Circus. So I really think the matter of Let It Be and Get Back is a bit more complicated. And I think we may see it a bit more complicated. I'm really hoping Peter Jackson does not do a 90-minute film. I don't want it test screened like 8 Days a Week was with Ron Howard. I found out that was test screened with non-Beatle fans. Why would you test screen a documentary about the Beatles to non-Beatle fans? And one of the things that came out of the cards was too much music. Okay. But I hope Peter Jackson does a 3-hour documentary. It should be a 3-hour documentary. 56 hours of footage should not be another 90-minute documentary. But I think that with the 56 hours, why Michael Lindsay Hogg decided to tell one story, I don't even consider it a good documentary. Some people do. I don't. I think the editing is very, and I've discussed this before. I've said I think the editing is done rather haphazardly. Sometimes Ringo's playing a different song, and you can tell than what the song is that they got. The editing is so... Paul is actually discussing with George the I got a feeling, lick, that near, because that's George who plays it. But instead, they made it look like he's talking to John, and John is disinterested. Um, and the whole thing where Paul is talking to John, and John is stretching out like he's bored out of his mind and doesn't want to hear it. No, if you read the Nagra transcripts and hear the Nagra tapes, no, John was actually into the conversation. So I'm hoping a much more three-dimensional portrayal. But man, the footage. First off, it looks like it was just shot yesterday. It was incredible what they did with the picture. And yeah, I want some pictures of my boys during this time, looking happy and joking around and doing what they do best. The Nagra recordings tell a totally different story. It wasn't all doom and gloom, and it wasn't all happiness either. It was somewhere in between. We know George walked out, but that was even captured on the Nagra tapes too. We know there was a disagreement at that point, and it took George a couple days for them to coax him to come back. But we also know when they got into the Apple Studios, even based on the Nagra recordings, that feelings tended to be very good. Maybe the Beatles felt in retrospect after they played back the footage that some of the stuff was just not good. When you take a look at some of the songs, I mean, Let It Be a Long and Winding Road are probably some of the best, but originally it was just going to be, when you hear the original Glenn Johns bootleg, they sound rather sloppy. But at the same time, they were having fun. So I really hope Peter Jackson does a 3-hour plus documentary, and does a 3-hour plus documentary. I don't care, 3 hours, and it tells a much more well-rounded story. Yes, I want it to be told that George did leave the sessions. I want it to be told that I want the famous part between Paul and George. But I want something to counter that as well. That's what I want. I want something to counter it. And I'm hoping Peter Jackson will do that. But man, if you've seen that footage that Peter Jackson had shared, please let me know your thoughts and what your ideas are about this. I'm excited. I can't wait for the whole set whenever they officially re-announce that, because they will. And I can't wait. Hopefully, with a shimmer of light in the COVID pandemic here in the States, with the vaccines, if enough, I think we'll probably be back in the theaters. I know Disney is pushing hard for theatrical distribution for a lot of their movies, and this is a Disney film, so I really hope so. So, give me your thoughts, and I'll talk to you soon.